What's up, guys? Welcome back to the shop. This is going to be just a little rundown on some updates that we're doing. Just more or less get everybody caught up with where we're at as far as racing and the cars and destruction and World Cup finals.
Hayes. Look at Hayes in the power wheelie, and he pedals out of it.
So, without further ado, we're going to roll right into this. So we're going to start off with World Cup finals. So me and Eric Gold took Lagello, the 81 or 82 Honda K-powered Starlet. Turbo 400 9-inch ladder bar car, super short wheelbase, like mid 90 wheelbase or maybe low 90 wheelbase. Honda Starlet. We went to World Cups. Didn't go great, but also kind of went great. So my first time ever going to Cup. Eric's been many times and he loves it. It's probably his favorite race of the year. Bunch of good people went up there. We actually got up there with a group of about 10 people that we know and race with, and more or less like extended racing family. Had a great time. We went and tested the Starlet the Thursday before. Melted a piston. I'm not tuning that car. It's a methanol turbo car. Definitely not my deal whatsoever. But had some issues with the tuning or the way we were running the car. He's been fighting this thing for a better part of a year now, trying to make it live, trying to make power the way that he wants it to run. So melted it, thought he found the problem. We put it back together, and literally without making a test hit on the new motor that he'd just thrown in there, which was our backup motor for Cup, we put the car in the trailer and go up to Cup. So we go up there and make 2 test hits, find out the converter that had been perfect for the car 3 months ago is way too loose. So car doesn't wheelie, doesn't give us any problems, but it makes it to about 5.3, 5.4 in the run, and she's on the chip. I have to dump it. Unfortunately, in one of these incidences of me dumping it, I kept it on the chip just a little too long and beat a valve seat out. So we ended up having to put a head on the car. They actually took the head down to, I'll have to get the name of the shop, but the name of the shop that we took it to will be right here. Very good people. Fixed it for us that day and actually came up the following day with another head that they put together just in case we kept having this issue on the car. We ended up qualifying for the race. We changed the rear gear, trying to make the converter a little tighter. Helped. We ended up making it to about 6 seconds into the run. But just not enough. So we end up, Jarvis had a extra converter for his car that he actually didn't like, but it was just kind of a spare. It was all we get our hands on. He runs a very similar combo, K-powered. His Glide setup. I think his car might be a little heavier or maybe a little lighter. But anyway, close enough. Close thing we were going to find at World Cup finals, because most of these Honda guys are manuals. We throw that in the car before first round, the night before first round. We qualified 29th, I think, maybe 30th. And another car that Eric tunes for Fran, PDRA, I believe Super Street car, slick tired, blown, billet block Corvette, very fast car, very respected, race car, has gone rounds for a long time now. We ended up getting him first round with the way the ladder fall. He qualified 3rd. I think we qualified 29th out of a 32 car field. Number 3 and 29 line up for first round. We go out there having no clue what this converter is going to do. We knew it was going to be tighter. We didn't know how much tighter. And we threw the beans at it. We were trying to hope that we were going to make enough power to just smack that converter right in the mouth and push through, make a Hail Mary pass. Doesn't happen. We hit the converter hard, it wheelies, it goes out about, immediately wheelies off the line. I dumped it, it goes out about 20 feet and get back into it. We've got a nitrous bottle on it to help spool the car, so it's got instant spool. It immediately spools again and picks the tires up, and I'm headed towards the wall. I had to drop the car, get the car back headed straight, and I smacked it again and took off after him. The car actually went its fastest mile an hour I believe it's ever been. So it went at 8:20 or 8:30 to the quarter at 180 miles an hour. Yeah, 8:30 at 100, I believe it was at 8:30 at 180 miles an hour. Sorry guys, there's been a lot of racing, a lot of time slips looked at. I had to go get my time slip. So the car went at 8:29.4 at 179.4 miles an hour. So car without the wheelies, everything's still happy. Should have went a 7, really and truthfully probably would have went a 60, maybe a 50. The car is super light, so the mile an hour is usually a little slow compared to what a heavier car would mile an hour. But it's pretty crazy that thing can run that fast, especially on that amount of boost. So yes, a lot of boost. I'm not going to give out his boost numbers, but he's somewhere a little over halfway of what that motor should be able to take compared to what we know other people run on them. So very, very happy with the way the car ran. The big wheelie, I ripped the fuel cell out of it. Luckily, it had enough fuel in to make it in a track. It didn't go lean and burn the whole thing up. But as a driver inside the car, it had oil pressure. The screen wasn't freaking out. We didn't find out. It was still dripping fuel when we got to the shutdown. So luckily, it didn't run through that and crash the car or anything. Just a minor leak, but it's all good. That was World Cup for us in a nutshell. So get back here, and it's time to get back to work on the Nova. So Saturday before World Cup, Eric was putting the motor in that car. Everyone's busy, and I decided, hey, I'm gonna go get my license straight for sick week coming up here, so we don't have to do the same thing as drag week and 750 bracket race this car. So I went and made the last 3 passes that I needed in the gray Nova. So I ended up going a 756 first pass. Had to be slower than a 750 for my last intermediate pass. Turned third kit on, way out, over a second out, and end up going a 730, 733, 180 some mile an hour. And then the last pass of the night, the last pass I needed, just working on fueling, bringing the kit in a little quicker, we end up going a 719 at 191 miles an hour with the car. So very happy with that. That shows we have potential for next year, especially for sick week. We're very happy with the car. Should go 6s, no problem, especially with 4 kits on. So now it's just time to get everything situated for the winter, do the last few updates we want to do to everything, and move forward and try to be 100% for sick week. So license and paperwork is in the mail. It's shipped off to NHRA. The purple car. So purple car, the last time everybody saw it. So at drag week, Dad drove the purple car. Him and Bo took it. The car had a fresh motor in it, but there was a bunch of little issues going on, and it was partially my fault. We had struggled. We spent the last 30 days before drag week building this car from a roller, and just didn't have time to work on the OG Purple Nova. So Dad ends up getting in it. Car is a very good car, but there were some issues we've been having. So the carburetor, the street carburetor, had been having some issues, overheating, flooding, boiling the bowls. I've been trying to get that car where we take the hood off of it to drive. That's what we did on this one, and the car is so much happier without the hood on it. Another issue we were having was that car has a wide open throttle switch that if you aren't data logging and keeping on top of the healthiness of that wide open throttle switch, you can very quickly get in trouble. Those little wide open throttle switches go bad, and when they start on and offing super quick, there's little micro glitches, those little micro blips. If you get one that's big enough to turn the MSD timing controller off for just a second, but doesn't turn the nitrous solenoids off, you can get in some real trouble. So at that point, you'd be spraying nitrous, 2 kits of considerable size nitrous into a motor that has timing for naturally aspirated running. So we believe that happened. At the first day, it nipped a plug, nipped just one plug. It put a whipping on all the rest of them, but it completely ate one. Clean all the fuel jets out, make sure it wasn't a fuel jet problem. Doesn't seem to be. And then at that point, we move on to day 2 with that car, and we changed the oil in it, and we believe we either had trash in the oil, there was trash in the pickup, or maybe an oil filter collapsed internally. We cut the oil filter open, and that's what it appeared to have been. I'm not going to speak on that too much because I don't have any data to prove it. I will no longer be using those oil filters, but I don't have any data to prove it. So before we start trashing companies, we're going to make sure that we have all our ducks in a row. But here, I'll show you the damage, what happened to her. So this is what's left of my 615 that I've had for 5 years. Hey, that's Riley and Charlotte. They're my little puppy dogs. They're waiting on their mother. But this is what's left of my 615. It's pretty sad to look at, guys, for me. And unfortunately, guys, it's almost not savable. So this block could probably be repaired, but it's broken in 2 spots here. I'm not sure how well it's going to show up on camera, but it broke this main out. It also cracked this main here and a little bit up here in the very top. It's hard to see in this light, but the whole motor just took a beating. So it chunked lifters out of it. You can see there where the crankshaft had made some contact with the block. It broke rods. It broke so many rods. Just cut connecting rods in half. We're gonna have to do something cool with these, but you can see here as well, pretty much every piston that did not get a rod shoved through it, pretty much every rod that didn't break, the piston is destroyed. It shoved the amount of aluminum that is no longer in the correct space on this motor is almost phenomenal. This head right here, even these heads they're savable, but it would take a lot of money to save them. And really and truthfully, very good motor, but pretty much the intake and the camshaft, even the camshaft got some scars on it, but the intake and the camshaft is all we're gonna walk away with this deal. I got some people interested in buying it, and they're gonna fix it, maybe use it for a bracket deal, something like that. Not as much stress as we put on it. We always ran that thing pretty hard to do what we did with it. Its best pass was a 760 at 186 or 87 in a 34 and a 50, 3,450 pound car with 2 kits. We always ran that thing hard. It always treated me well. I've destroyed it a couple times, but never to that extent. And it's just not a lot to save there and try to go back stressing that block to the same extent that we always did. So that's what happens when you have an oil filter, or when you have an oiling issue. It pretty much spun every bearing on the crank. It spun every main out the block. It stuck lifters, it stuck valves, it just destroyed the motor. So that was the end of Dad's drag week there. We took the Gray Nova and went on to finish in 2nd in drag week, which you saw in the other video, but it's pretty disheartening, but it's cool. So the Purple Nova is gone right now. The Purple Nova is off at paint. We've been needing to paint it for a long time, and the new motor setup that we're putting in it is a little different. So we had to move some stuff around. Still going to be a nitrous motor, but it's going to be something's going to be fast. So that we had to move a bunch of stuff, had to do some stuff to the firewall and as far as the frame rails in the front. So we're going to move all that stuff around, and while we're doing it, we went ahead and painted the car, and probably end up having to do a different hood on it too. So that car's gone to paint right now. Be real excited to get that back and start getting on that. We are planning on taking both cars to Sick Week, so hopefully we'll have it done for them. While we're doing these videos today, I'm going to give a little update on the S10. So the S10 has been down since last year at Sick Week. It's got a new motor, new hot side, will have a new cold side, new turbo location, changing up some stuff on the inside with the steering. You can see all of it's out. I actually stole the Dominator out of this to put in the gray car to get us to drag week this year. But as of right now, the Nova is pretty much holding all the parts for itself. At this point, the S10 is holding all the parts for the build in its bed. We robbed a bunch of stuff off of it that we just couldn't get in time for the Gray Nova. So we robbed it off the S10, and we'll be back on it for next year. We're definitely going to try to do some street car stuff with it, just because no one's letting me run the new Nova in any of our local street car classes, being full tube chassis and stuff. It's more of an all steel all glass deal anyways. So we're going to try to do some all steel all glass with the new car, but this will be my street car for next year. We're definitely going to try to finish it up here over the winter. But unfortunately, the S10 is kind of like it's always been for the last 5 or 6 years. It's always on the back burner. We mess with it when we have time. It doesn't go to, I tried to take the 6 week, that didn't work out. And unfortunately, I'm probably not going to take it to another big event like that until we do some more local small races that I can really feel confident in the setup and the tune. The LSs are a great platform and I have a lot of faith in them, but at the same time I've had a lot of issues with this one. So we're switching over to methanol, which will make this thing 10 times better, but I've still got to do all the fuel system for the methanol fuel side of it, and new intake, new cold side. It's just a lot of work left to be done, a lot of wiring too. I'm in between rewiring the whole entire car. After seeing how good the gray car turned out, I really, really love the wiring on the gray car. So that might be in the future for the S10 soon. So another exciting thing, I got 2 of these little trailers. They're escape door, LED lights on the outside instead of the hatch doors at the back. These are going to be my new drag week trailers. We've always rented trailers, U-Haul, but at this point we're doing so many of them that it just doesn't make sense anymore. So we switched over and found these trailers for a good deal, and this is going to be the new setup. So I really love that it's got the lights on the outside. It's got these nice work lights out here, especially with the escape door. So we're probably going to try to do some cool stuff with this setup, trying to make it where it works nice and where we're going to put the toolbox and the laptop and just all the random stuff, spare tire setup on it. I think it's gonna be really cool. They're very big trailers. They're actually bigger than what I wanted, but at the end of the day, I think once we get in here, we'll probably come in here and build some shelves. I'm thinking about building a false floor right at the height of the escape doors. That'll give you plenty of room underneath for tires and tents, tools, jacks, pro jacks, stuff like that. And then also try to hide the air compressor up under there and make it where we don't have to unload so much every time we get to a track. That's the only problem with the U-Haul is every time you get to a track, there's so much stuff that you have to unload every single thing to get to anything in the front or anything, pretty much anything at all. There's just so much stuff we take with us. Probably a lot of it unnecessary, but at the same time, when you need it, you're gonna be glad you had it. So I don't think I'm gonna cut down the amount of stuff I'm taking. The big blocks with the lockups don't really care about how much the trailer weighs. They go down the road just fine no matter what. But this is the new trailer. They're a good design. Hopefully y'all see some more updates on this once I start working on this a little closer to 6 week after I get the cars kind of taken care of. Move over to the Gray Nova. I'm gonna show y'all why I even shot this video today. I'm gonna give y'all some updates on what we're doing with this and some of the stuff we've changed since the last time y'all saw the car. All right guys, so one of the big things we changed since drag week, the bottles. So we got the bottles mounted up front now like a real pro mod should, or like a real street car should, I guess. I didn't want the bottles inside the car. I never had them inside the car on the purple car. But with this car and the way it's set up, in the back, the bottles were laid too flat. So what would happen is running the quarter, we'd have to put a fresh set of bottles in it every pass. Even though we really aren't using enough nitrous to do that, we should be able to get 2 passes out of 2 bottles with the amount that we're spraying right now. As we move up in jet, that situation will change and you have to constantly keep an eye on your bottles and, come here. No, this is my baby right here. But you have to constantly keep an eye on your bottles and how much you use. You do that just by weighing the bottles and keep an eye on it and purging at the end. You can always tell if you're starting to get a little air in there, you're not gonna have a good, nice nitrous purge. You're gonna have a bunch of air coming out. So what was happening was at the end of the pass, we would see that the correction on the fuel table is just getting worse and worse and worse. And we couldn't really figure it out. The RPM does, we are going up in RPM, but it seemed like every time the car would run faster, we'd get nitrous in quicker. Out the back, it would always start pulling fuel. So we come to realize now, after some analysis, that yes, the bottles do weigh a lot. They have plenty of nitrous in them, but they're laid so flat that the dip tube inside of them, or the siphon tube inside of them, cannot pick up the nitrous, or it's very sporadic. Going down the track with the G's, it may be different. That's something you always have to think about too. The G forces are throwing the liquid to the back of the bottle, but I really don't like to rely on that too much. Especially when you get up towards the big end, there's a lot of G forces. There's also a lot of pressure inside that bottle that makes the liquid act a little different than what you would kind of always think. It's not a liquid in a container by itself. There's a lot of pressure in there. You're talking 1200 psi nitrous in there that definitely makes that liquid movement have more resistance against it. So we came up here in the front of the car, made some aluminum tabs, made some brackets. It shouldn't be too bad at drag week. It's 4 bolts that hold these in here. Pull the lines off, roll them up, shove them underneath the passenger seat. We should be ready to go riding. It might even be a situation where if it's not too tight, we might leave them in there. But I'm not gonna do that to my passenger if he doesn't want to. That'll be kind of his decision. But 4 bolts, no nuts. It's an easy deal to pop in and out, and it's definitely worth it in my opinion. The balls are here where they're so easy to get to. So now while we're racing, we should never have to even take the deck lid off, which was another thing that when you have a bolt-on hood or a Zeused-on hood and a Zeused-on deck lid, you kind of always are fighting going back and forth. You know, at the track for drag week, where are we gonna set this so no one steps on it? When people are taking pictures, people are walking around talking, there's fans always coming through the pits. The last thing you want is someone to step on a carbon fiber hood and it costs you a couple $1,000s to get that thing fixed. So now the hood can go on top of the trailer. The deck lid should never have to leave the car ever, unless we're getting back there to put weight or service. I can fill the car through the hood, through the deck lid itself. The deck lid has a access door for the fuel, and at that point, it's pretty straightforward. So it'd be nice not having to take both of them off every time we get somewhere. And another thing I like is that I can reach these from the driver's seat. So if we go to the lines, I'm getting ready to do a burnout, I look over, hey, the balls are off. No big deal. I can reach over here, pull the pins, turn them on. It's no more guessing or looking, or they were on earlier, but now they're off and nobody knows. And these balls are super simple, but some people, you know, if you've never been around them before, they get a little confused, especially with the hand grenade pin. And people are always so scared to try it and see. But this makes it easier on me as a driver, and as a team, it makes it easier on the whole team. So real happy about that. The only other thing that we've really done is I've made some adjustments in the rear, so we have more droop. We have more droop now than we did before. And I'm trying to think, I made some adjustments to the parachute handle because I didn't like the way that was set up. So now it'll be the front suspension that we're tackling. Here we are, guys. We come around here to the front suspension. So this is what we had before. It's a strut, pretty simple strut bracket, mount tab at the top. This is kind of how most of your Pro Mods, top sportsman cars, anything that's tube chassis with a strut, this is a very common way to do it. There's nothing wrong with this, but for drag and drive, we need to be up off the ground a little more. This car is so low to the ground, I can't even run I have a front splitter for it over there that I really want to put on the car for aero, and I can't even run it. It drags the ground just cruising around in the pits. So what we had done is we put a 1/2 inch shim under here to try to raise the car a little more, but even that was giving us some issues. It still just wasn't enough. You can always jack your coilovers way up, but driving around to do that, you lose a lot of shock travel. And as y'all can see, it's only a 5-inch strut anyways. You only got about 4 inches of suspension. You can run a radial car with as little as 2 inches in my opinion, but we really didn't want to get in that situation. It was just easier, and this is the proper way to fix it. So I've already done this side over here. I've cut that out. These are cups. They're really nice cups. I actually really like them. I know Tin Soldier makes some that are really nice too. These are Hammer Concept and Designs adjustable strut mounts. I really like these. They're a really cool deal. So the way it works is you take this is inside of here obviously. You take this collar, loosen your collar inside at the bottom. Your strut's gonna mount right here to it's got a cylindrical bearing in here. It's got a couple races. These are replaceable in case you ever need to replace them. It should make it longer than your car does. But if you ever needed to, they are replaceable. This is aluminum, this is a steel cup, so you can weld it into your chassis. And then they send you this cool socket adjustment tool. It's got a 3/8 drive head on it. You can loosen this up, and then you will just screw this down or up to assess your ride height. So what you pretty much, what I kind of did was on this setup, I knew where we currently were was as low as I'd ever run the car. It drags everywhere right now. It is super low, it's super mean, it's super cool, but I'd never ever had the car lower than this. So I left myself only about a 1/2 inch of down from where we currently are now. So the car will never ever be able to go but a ½ inch lower than what it currently is. And I welded these in so that I had mostly up travel. These are a really cool design. These seem like a really nice piece and something that can really help you get your car set up if you're running into this problem like I'm having, where you just don't have the adjustability. They make strut offsets. You could probably get struts with different spindle heights and stuff like that, but it's super expensive. And once you buy those, you're in the same situation again. You're stuck to whatever that is. So with these, it should be really cool. We should be able to adjust these things to where we only have about 1 inch of bump and about 4 inches of travel up. That'll give us a pretty good handle on the front suspension, where the strut has a good motion to work and work properly. Because a big part of getting one of these radial cars down the track is to have good suspension all the way around and good control of the suspension as well. All right, guys, well, that's it for today. That's it for the shop update today. We got some more stuff coming in the future. We're gonna probably buff the trailer. We're gonna try to clean the trailer up some. We got a new motorhome this year, so that's cool, but really kind of showed how old our trailer is. So we're gonna have to do some work on it, kind of make it spiffied up, but it's a good old trailer. It doesn't give me any issues, and I can't seem to find anybody that'll pay me to buy a whole new one. So until that happens, we're gonna work with what we got. I love this old trailer. It's set up perfect for a nitrous car. It's set up perfect for us. We can carry 3 cars in it. And so we'll probably do some videos of us working on that. And we'll show some videos of the Purple Nova once we get that thing back too, because it's gonna be pretty cool seeing the new motor set up in that. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate y'all tuning in for this week. I'm gonna jump back to work and see if I can't get this other side knocked out. So I'll show y'all some video. I'll show y'all some pictures and stuff online. Follow the Instagram and Facebook, Hayes Racing and Graham Hayes. You can find us on all the social media, and we'll definitely be posting some pictures of this car on the ground and ride height and stuff like that once we get it set up. We do some little videos over there. So without further ado, thank you for watching. Have a great week. I'll see you next time.